Hi guys, this is a video on how to convert a road bike with mechanical shifters into a flat bar road bike for maybe for a city or whatever. So first you need the corresponding shifter lever. So this is a Tiagra 10 speed, and also brake levers. Now if you've got rim brakes, you need road rim brakes. So these are the Tiagra rim brakes. You need to make sure you get the right brake levers, because otherwise the pull ratios are wrong. So yeah, and you also need a flat handlebar. We just got a cheap one off AliExpress because the idea was making this bike fairly cheap. So I'm going to quickly take the bar tape off, take the shifters off, and yeah, go from there. So here we're just undoing the brake cables and also the shifter cables, so we can disconnect the shifters. You get new cables for the brakes and the shifters through the with the kit, so with the brake levers and with the shifter. So don't worry about saving them. I was trying to save them, but you don't need to, because they won't work anyway, as the ends are different. They're not cross compatible, the flat bar and the road cables. So yeah, this is the same, just removing the shifter cable, the derailleur cables. Yeah, so the idea is this bike's got 10 speed Tiagra, but it's a bit tatty, so my first road bike sort of thing, I want to convert it for city use, and I prefer flat bars, so I thought it would be a cool project to change them. So yeah, here we are taking off the Shimano drop bar levers. So to remove the shifter cables, you have to make sure the shifter's all the way in the smallest ring, so it's got no tension on it, and then you just pull it out like so, and then take the shifter off. So for this project, for the front derailleur, I decided where it will only be used on short rides, I don't need a front derailleur. I will keep it one by. Now I didn't want to spend the money on getting narrow wide chain rings or anything like that, or just buying a front mech shifter. So you'll see the sort of inventive way I tried to keep it one by later on in the video. But yes, now we're taking off the drop handlebars. Yep, so now we're just temporarily installing these bars, just so I can see the width of them. I ended up sawing a bit off because I thought they were too wide, but that's obviously down to personal preference. So yeah, if you put them on loosely, then you can sit on the bike yourself off the stand and see if you think they're the right size for you. I mean, if they are the right size, you don't have to cut them down. Here I am marking off some to make sure I cut the correct amount off, the same amount off each side, just to try and make the bike fit a bit better, because they were too wide with from the factory, those flat bars. So yeah, just sawing down the bars now. Obviously took them back off the bike, and then with a hacksaw and cut off what you want to cut off, and then give them a quick file just so they're not sharp at the end. So installing them back in, making sure they're central, and if everything's aluminium you're probably okay not using a torque wrench, but if you have one there's no harm in using one. So here for the complicated part, the Shimano road levers, these Tiagra ones at least, come with a cam to change from normal V brakes, so for like a mountain bike, to road pull ratios. Otherwise the lever feel will be up far off and it could be quite dangerous, so you might not be able to get full braking performance. So to swap them you have to undo the screw. There's a little tiny screw, then black plastic thing falls out. You then move the cam to the other part of the lever and then put the plastic thing back in to lock it in position. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing in the video, but this is probably one of the important parts of this procedure, just making sure you've bought the right lever and that it fits. So yeah, small screw, it's a little bit finicky but it's not too bad, didn't take me too long. And once you've done one it's easier to do the other. As you see it's in the lower position now, so that's what you need for road levers, but I would check the instructions in case all the Shimano ones are different if you don't have the same. So yeah, new brake cable in, threading that through and then setting up the brakes. Okay, now onto the shifter. That just goes on before the brake lever after. Now, if you had grips, my grips took a while to turn up, but you could put the grips on first or after, and then you'd have before you tighten down the clamps, so you'd make sure everything's on the right amount. But yeah, here I'm just shortening the outers because the outer cables were a bit long, so I was just shortening those and then installing the new cables for both the shifter and the brakes. So just my tip indexing gears is you push into like 2 gears higher than the lowest gear and the hardest to pedal gear, smallest cog, and then when you tighten the cable it'll ping back once you start pedaling, but it should have enough tension in that you only need to adjust the indexing slightly, and it always seems to work. So now the indexing is set up and shifting correctly. Of course buying old Tiagra stuff for a Tiagra group set seems to work well, because we're meant to work together, and I was impressed with the quality. So this is how I stopped I tried adjusting the limit screws. I thought I could get the front derailleur just the lower limit to keep it in the big ring. That doesn't work. So I got the old piece of shifter cable and put it through the cable guide, and then used the tension of that to hold it into the big ring. So yeah, it's just the cable ends run through the cable guide on the bottom bracket, and then just tighten, so it won't shift, but it'll stop it dropping into the little ring. And I'm hoping I'll be able to ride just in the big ring, because it's only for short runs around town. I'll hopefully be able to muscle up. I might regret that, but yeah, save myself having to buy a front shifter. So yeah, as you can see, all shifts well. I took it for a test ride. It's quite fast and quite nice. Only thing I would say is the geometry is slightly twitchy, so maybe something to consider before you convert it. Yeah, and then this is just putting the grips on that arrive later. I used the hairspray hack. It seemed to work well. Put on the grips nice and easily. And yeah, I'd say overall successful project. And yeah, changes the bike something more useful to me at the moment. So hope you enjoy, and hopefully it's somewhat helpful for anyone trying to undertake a similar project. Probably cost about £50. Yeah, so there you go, before and after. I hope you found it useful.